شنیدید صدای متجاوز به خاک وطن، صدای متجاوز به صدای حق و حقیقت است. آنچه که ملاحظه کردید، صدایی که شنیدید، فضای غبارآلود استودیو.
As you can see, we're experiencing a minor technical difficulty here on My Left Eye. Our team of expertly trained technicians are working busily to restore the stream. In the meantime, please make sure that you've hit the thumbs up button harder than you'd like to hit Keir Starmer in the Ghoulies, and left a comment down below. Thank you.
Together very well. I look forward to that. The G7 used to be the G8. Barack Obama and a person named Trudeau didn't want to have Russia in, and I would say that that was a mistake, because I think you wouldn't have a war right now if you had Russia in, and you wouldn't have a war right now if Trump were president 4 years ago, but it didn't work out that way. But it used to be the G8, and now it's, I guess, what's that, 8 years ago, it switched over. They threw Russia out, which I claimed was a very big mistake. Even though I wasn't in politics then, I was very loud about it. It was a mistake in that you spend so much time talking about Russia, and he's no longer at the table, so it makes life more complicated. But you wouldn't have had the war. Other than that, I think we're going to accomplish a lot.
Did you see that? Did you?
Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, there, thems and comrades alike, I bid thee a very warm welcome to the Brews at 10 on My Left Eye. I'm your host Lefty, thanks for joining me on the stream. That intro was a real work of art. Hope you got the joke there, where I put the technical difficulties video in. Anyway, have another look back afterwards if you want to check it out. There's only one intro, and this is it. Speaking of intros, we have Antonia, who was first in the chat tonight. Hope you're doing well. Hedy is with us also. Andy Carter, Graham Turner, Sneaky Fish, sneaking you in to the chat as well. Hope you're all brewing well. Graham, methinks she thinks correctly. Israel, yeah. We're about to reach a turning point, I think a tipping point as it were. I mean, this is it, and well, tonight is set to be the latest in the 4 days of attacks now. say as I'm having another sneaky peek behind the curtains for mushroom clouds as we speak. And it's going to be devastating, apparently. The heaviest attack yet. I don't know what the word yet is referring to chronologically. In all history, perhaps, or just from the last few days. Regardless, we're going to be keeping our left eyes on that situation. Excuse me, I'm trying to talk and read at the same time. You can tell if you listen to the streams closely when I'm reading the chat at the same time I'm trying to speak. But the end, not just, I mean, obviously now they're taking on Iran full force, but politically as well. Netanyahu, even for those who think that they can control him or have him do their bidding, cough cough, United States of America. He's unhinged, he's a liability. He's got to be considered a massive, like as big a liability as they get. If any of you are in insurance or liability law, yeah, do let me know what value policy you put on Netanyahu. I wouldn't touch the bastard. Anyway, make sure you've hit thumbs up button, please, on the stream. Hit the share button as well. Let's get the stream around social media. Mobius, thanks for joining us, and Gwenid. How do you brew? And check that out, Andy Carter celebrating a whole year of membership. Wow, brilliant, thank you very much. I think that's the first time we've seen the 12-month, or has someone had a 13? I've been streaming for just over a year now, evidently. Thanks a lot for that celebration, as well as for continuing to support the channel for 6 months, Andy. It's been great having you. So, I've got a multi-stream set up actually for this evening's events. Live from what is expected to be targets, as well as from launch sites as well. In fact, I think, just check the, I think there are 6 different cameras that I'm going to have on screen, covering Tel Aviv, Haifa, Jerusalem. Actually, it's more than 6. Also, Western Iran, Tehran, Isfahan, and another area of Tehran as well. All at once. Streams within streams. Very meta. Poppy, great to see you as well. How are you brewing? We're not going to do what Netanyahu, of course, wants and let this distract us from Gaza. That will be on the stream as well. The latest on that. The G7 as well began today. Starmer's over there, and you'll have noticed a little snippet from it that Rick wasn't too impressed with in the opening intro clip of the stream, so I'll be just having a look into that as well. The G7, yeah, I'm sure they'll get us out of this. But just very quickly on Trump and faux pas, that does bring us back to Iran, which is going to be the main bulk of tonight's live stream. Appears all over bar the shouting that they will be getting involved militarily. Officially, of course. Earlier today, I don't know if you had the misfortune. When you're into politics and sociology and whatnot, you do have to subject yourself to some pretty awful stuff, and people who you really disagree with. And I found myself watching the Commons session earlier with David Lammy, stood there, openly lying in the chamber, claiming that the UK was not currently supporting Israel in its attacks on Iran. No, I'm not shrinking violet, people. However, I would like to think I don't have as much access to specific information and as much influence and power as Foreign Secretary David Lammy. But even I know second hand that the UK has been refuelling Israel's Air Force in Cyprus. I'm pretty sure that most of you on the stream know this, either from watching the Sunday live stream or the Brews at 10 last week, or if you found it out of your own accord. So I watched as much of that session as I could really stomach, as much as I could bear, really. And it pretty much went like this, because I managed to catch the very start of it. He essentially said, I'm more or less obligated to say something about Israel attacking Iran first, but this is definitely all Iran's fault, and poor Israel, they're the victims, and it was piss-boilingly frustrating, people. Like the Zippy Hotavelli video. Extreme trigger warning. Yeah, if your blood pressure's particularly dangerously low, I suggest you watch that. It'll soon perk you back up. In a certain way. We have a doctor in the house as well, Doc Davies. A very good evening to you. Yes, Andy, I quite agree there, quite agree. The thing is as well, he takes an extraordinarily large amount of time to say anything. It's like watching Christopher Walken have a conversation with Jeff Goldblum or something. And what he will do, Mr. Speaker, and I'm just jamming this impersonation off the cuff, by the way. I don't have any official Lammy impersonation. A series of slow sentences which I think give the impression I am considering my answer very carefully as I speak, but I am in actual fact, Mr. Speaker, simply an idiot trying to draw things out. It's like that tempo. So it goes on and on and on, and I think I watched a good half hour, 45 minutes of the debate. sometimes directly, sometimes on in the background. And he must have probably said about 15 sentences in that whole time. I might work on that one and make a note of it for future Pat McFadden Experience episodes. But nobody pushed back on that. Nobody mentioned the Cyprus refuelling thing at all. Whilst I was watching or paying attention, that is, at least. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. Just think about how much I dislike David Lammy. Okay, it's easily done. It's easily done, people. Have you noticed he's stopped shaving his head so closely as well now? But you know, a bit of grey on top, sort of dusting on the top of his head that he has now. And this will probably be the final thing that I'll say about Lammy for some minutes. Just compare that to how he used to speak, you know, when he was in the Labour Party under Corbyn. And he did put up some really great performances from towards the backbenches, as he was in those days. And a few clips of his, especially on the hostile environment during Theresa May's tenure, were fabulous and on point, and he has previously criticised Israel around the fringes, at least. Very quick, very on point, very emotive, very real, and very enthusiastic. Not this new, slow, robotic Mr. Speaker, you know, the kind of the way I did it. It's a mirror opposite. It's a mirror opposite. But that's what bowing to the lobbyist does, you know. They say that the dark side drains one's life force a little, don't they? Odin, welcome to the chat. That's another good observation as well. It is a pretense at being eloquent. That's the entire thing with the whole upper class, though. And they've gotten away with it for a very long time now. You look at the likes of Jacob Rees-Mogg with that put on. That's not the Queen's English. That's not received pronunciation. The Queen's English. Whatever you'd like to call it. That's some made-up comic book shit. Nobody talks like that. He puts that on because he thinks it makes him sound articulate and sophisticated. Whereas, let's say if Jacob Rees-Mogg, sticking with the same example, said the same crap that he has done through his political career, but let's say in a regional accent, in a Brummie accent, in a Scouse accent, in a Manc accent, wherever. I'm Jacob Rees-Mogg and I'm from Leeds. No one would take him seriously at all, but no, when you do this, somehow people take you seriously. But it's utter bollocks, you know. Yeah. But no, he doesn't speak the Queen's. He certainly doesn't speak the Queen's. I won't go into the distinctions between how Rees-Mogg speaks specifically and, you know, the Queens. Or the Kings, as it is now. Keep saying Queens. Get with it. Yeah, that was a couple of years ago. The very latest. You know what it is, actually. Don't worry, I'm not not doing the live stream from a vault or anything. There just happens to be a banknote within my periphery of vision, and it's one that still has the late Queen Elizabeth II on. So that was probably influential there. That was some straight up Derren Brown shit going on. Made me forget. Rounding off on that point, it matters not the accents, it's their actions. Excuse me, I'm not at the microphone. It's their actions by which I judge them. They're all a bunch of shits, especially the old Etonian Guard. Yeah, I should bring it up there. And Odin, several comparisons have been made between Rees-Mogg and Lord Snooty, who used to be a comic book character in The Beano, an old comic book. Yeah, if you've ever seen pictures of that, it's a very good likeness. The memes write themselves. And as well as a doctor, we've got a musician in the house, Guitar Guy. Great to see you as always. How do you brew, sir? Rees-Mogg's TV show didn't last very long, did it? No. But the Brews at 10 is still going strong. Take that, Lord Snooty. Okay, Amber Tangents alert. So, let's get going with things, people. I've not even said thank you to the members yet. I've been getting a bit chatty already. But let's get some visual stimulation going. Thank you very much. Every single one of you who's on the list can join the list for just 99 pence. It's a fabulous investment. I'm sure current members will agree. Dipped slightly underneath the 100 mark in the last 24 hours, so please do check that you've renewed your memberships if you've got that coming up. Thank you one and all, marvellous members. So I'm currently on 89. Dip down a little. Since I was last with you on stream. Speaking of streams, just checking out the one I've got queued up at the moment. There does seem to be some activity actually here, people. Perhaps not. It's difficult to tell on some of them, you'll see when I put it on the screen, but there's so many locations, it's very small picture and not the biggest resolution, but there's other, I'm sure there'll be other Skyline streams that we can dip into. Hoppy, thanks for celebrating 4 months of membership. It's been great to have you. Another marvellous member. Solidarity for that, brother. And a gifted membership from Andy Carter as well. Thanks for that, Andy. Bullseye. Well, that takes us back into the 90s. Awesome stuff, thanks Andy. So I'll quickly show. Right, this is the latest, people. We've got Tel Aviv, which is the top left picture, Haifa, top right, Jerusalem is your bottom left, and Isfahan launch site is on the bottom right. I was just distracted a moment ago. Should be able to see my cursor here. This distinctive yellow light here. It looks static. Oh, it's gone now. It was probably nothing. I thought we had a live one there. So we're coming back to that periodically through the stream. Let's just get through some other stuff first. Some of the latest. Just messing about with a few buttons here, people, one moment. Alright, let's take a look just once again at, that was the moment that the SNN building, the Iranian state media building, was attacked. So this was actually live as they were broadcasting. You saw it at the beginning of the stream if you were with us then, but here's a bit of a replay.
صدای متجاوز به خاک وطن، صدای متجاوز به صدای حق و حقیقت است. آنچه که ملاحظه کردید، صدایی که شنیدید، فضای غبارآلود.
Just turn it down because it will get loud. Wow. Yeah. So as they were broadcasting there, you can see. But 10 minutes later, they were broadcasting yet again the same news host as well, which you really have to give credit for. Hugh Edwards would have been right out of there quicker than you can say suspicious WhatsApp message. Dry throat. Sorry, people. So that's the SNN network, and they actually responded to this. I don't know if you saw this. Just became aware of it a short time before I came on the stream. But they've responded not in kind, but with a hack. They hacked into Israeli state media as they were broadcasting live, and basically proceeded to mess up the sound system. So don't adjust your devices. This isn't a technical issue. It is actually supposed to sound like this, so check this out.
בזמן מלחמה כלשהי?
Let's say that again.
בזמן מלחמה כלשהי?
So they hacked into the mics and the speakers. So I'm not sure if there was any of it in that particular clip, but I saw it mentioned on social media that they actually played a clip, which may not be in particularly poor taste, but of a certain Austrian-born German leader from the 1930s up until the mid-1940s, or around, let's say, June 1945, roughly. So they've sort of got some payback there. Nobody was killed. There were a few minor injuries in the attack on the Iranian station. Just before I queue up the next clip, just want to have a quick look at the cams again and check the live news. Excuse me, the live news feed. So there's no reports on the feed of any fresh attacks, but well, you'll see. I'll show you here actually. There have been warnings issued. There have been a few declarations. So on Twitter, the Iranian Armed Forces page says basically get out of Tel Aviv if you're in Tel Aviv right now. Just get this up. Urgent warning, evacuate Tel Aviv immediately, they say. So that's from Iran Armed Forces. And I think I saw another post from the same page that said something along the lines of you won't be able to sleep tonight because we're going to be having a massive party, or words to that effect. I'll try and keep my left eye on the very latest as it happens live, perhaps. I want to bring back that. Not that one. Just this that I had on before I came on live. From Zara Sultana. And this is all we've seen for the last few days from the mainstream media, and as well as, unfortunately, UK and US politicians. The Iraq playbook is back and the media won't question it. Iran has no nuclear weapons. Israel, on trial for genocide, does. Iran signed the NPT, that's a non-proliferation treaty, and allows the IAEA inspections. Israel hasn't, and its leaders face ICC arrest warrants because of politicians beating the drums of war. Well said, Zara Sultana, MP for Coventry South. So I've managed to find some footage which might sound strikingly familiar, but this will be from around 20 years ago, when former President of the United States, George W. Bush, was making similar claims about Iraq, who of course didn't have biological weapons as he claimed at the time, and it's just history repeating. We've seen the same now with Iran. David Lammy is even getting on board with that false rhetoric, that false narrative, as I mentioned. It's disgusting and it's worrying. So here's another twat from the past, George W. Bush.
Information from a high-ranking Iraqi nuclear engineer who had defected revealed that despite...
I will just randomly interject to shout insults. That will literally be all that I'll be capable of, I'm afraid.
...his public promises, Saddam Hussein had ordered his
murderer
nuclear program to continue.
He didn't have...
The evidence indicates that Iraq is reconstituting its nuclear weapons program.
Liar.
Saddam Hussein has held numerous meetings with Iraqi nuclear scientists.
Liar.
A group he calls his nuclear mujahideen, his nuclear holy warriors.
Draft-dodging, alcoholic liar.
Satellite photographs reveal that Iraq is rebuilding facilities at sites that have been part of its nuclear program in the past. Iraq has attempted to purchase high-strength aluminum tubes and other equipment needed for gas centrifuges.
College dropout, liar.
Which are used to enrich uranium for nuclear weapons. If the Iraqi regime is able to produce, buy, or steal an amount of highly enriched uranium a little larger than a single softball, it could have a nuclear weapon in less than a year.
But it didn't have any, did it? You lying chimp-faced bastard. And I'll tell you this as well. It's, you know, the neck of the United States of America to criticise another country for having nukes when they're the only country in history that have launched a nuclear attack against another country, as well as having the second biggest stockpile currently on the planet. Stick it up your balls.
And if we allow that to happen, a terrible line would be crossed. Saddam Hussein would be in a position to blackmail anyone who opposes his aggression.
He never did that.
He would be in a position to dominate the Middle East.
He never did that.
He would be in a position to threaten America. And Saddam Hussein would be in a position to pass nuclear technology to terrorists.
Never did that either.
Some citizens wonder, after 11 years of living with this problem, why do we need to confront it now?
Well, have you seen how much oil they've got over there? You can take a fucking, you know, you can swim in the shit. I wouldn't recommend that, of course. It's probably highly dangerous. But, oh, it just so happens to be on top of all these rich oil wells. Now, would you have that? How's about that, people? Goodness. Did someone say OPEC? No, maybe I'm hearing things.
And there's a reason. We've experienced the horror of September the 11th. We have seen that those who hate America are willing to crash airplanes.
Now, what's happening at the moment, what has been happening for the last 20 months, what Israel expected to happen was that the world would perceive October 7th, 2023 as their version of September 11th, 2001 attacks. Alas not. Their efforts to garner public sympathy were soon found out, especially when it was revealed that they gave a directive to fire on their own citizens, for example. And you can make comparisons about accusations of false flags with 9/11. That's a whole another topic. I personally don't buy the official story of what happened on September 11th. 2001. I won't go into the ins and outs of all of that, but it definitely didn't go down as the narrative said so, the narrative which led to the invasion of Iraq, which this announcement and other announcements like this tried to back up with false claims of access to nuclear, chemical and biological weapons. Bullshit throughout history, people. Stu, welcome to the stream as well. It's great to see you. How do you brew, sir?
Into buildings full of innocent people. Our enemies would be no less willing. In fact, they would be eager to use biological or chemical or a nuclear weapon.
My arse.
Knowing these realities, America must not ignore the threat gathering against us. Facing clear evidence of peril, we cannot wait for the final proof, the smoking gun that could come in the form of a mushroom cloud.
And the Grammy goes to someone else. Yeah, he's a liar. Donald Rumsfeld was a liar. Colin Powell was a liar. Colin Powell has actually said after the fact, you know, they're all really old now, these guys, that it was his biggest regret of his career, the 45-minute claim that that's a very short amount of time to launch a chemical weapon. That's what the Americans claimed. Colin Powell even held up test tubes and vials of these chemicals that he said that Saddam Hussein was using, that they didn't find a single trace of, by the way, in case I have to inform you or remind you, depending on whether you remember this or not. But yeah, we're seeing exactly the same thing again now. It's easy, very easy to draw comparisons. It's this false narrative, the manufacturing of consent, if you want to put it poignantly. And that's one of the most infuriating things about the industrial military complex and capitalism, you know, that go hand in hand, is that they expect and think people to have particularly short memories, and just to keep falling for the same old crap or being put through the same old crap. But no, we ain't going to stand for that, are we, people? That's former President George W. Bush. Absolute arsebag. But someone who does actually have some grey matter between their ears, who was on Sky News earlier, is Richard Dalton, who's actually the former ambassador to Iran from the UK, so he certainly knows his onions on Iran. And what he says is the actual reality and goes completely contrary to the official narrative that we're hearing at the moment. Let's hear this from Richard Dalton.
So, Richard, do you believe Iran was on the brink of nuclear weaponization?
No, and there is no evidence to that effect in the public domain. And soundings of American intelligence figures since this war began suggest that there is no change in the basic assessment of the international community and of the entire US intelligence community, which of course draws on everything that Israel can obtain, that Iran has not taken a decision to develop nuclear weapons in accordance with their own defense doctrine, which is to eschew weapons of mass destruction. So we are entitled to disbelieve Netanyahu's claims that there was some recent change in Iranian policy and behavior until evidence is put in the public domain. And personally, I don't think that evidence is available.
So, Richard, do you?
Well said, sir. A literal sir, an actual sir, actually. Morbius, yeah. Let's just play that again. And the first part of his answer is just brilliant. It's just absolutely deadpan. There's no grey area. It's a flat out no.
Do you believe Iran was on the
No.
brink of nuclear weaponization?
No.
No. No. And anyone who says so is talking absolute poppycock and bunkum. And he's, quite right. We were just talking about the accents sort of allowing people to talk bollocks and get away with it. But when they're speaking the truth, a lot of the time, it sort of hammers it home a bit better. Yes, so even American intelligence know that not only do Iran not have nukes, they're not trying to get them. And I'd expect to hear that they are trying to get them from the likes of Netanyahu, Ben-Gvir, Smotrich, whoever. But I don't want to hear that coming from my own Foreign Secretary here in the UK, David Lammy, Member of Parliament for Tottenham. I don't want to hear it coming from the press, and I'm sure that you'll probably hear this come from Keir Starmer as well. Unfortunately, a lot of the mainstream media, political outlets will bite where that's concerned and bring it up as though it's a matter for debate when it is just completely a non-issue. It's a non-talking point. The only talking point in this entire situation is that Israel is again illegally oppressing another country by military force. And we and the United States apparently are about to become very directly complicit in that. So that should be the whole matter put to bed. Don't want to hear that being brought up in interviews or whatever from Laura Kussenberg, Robert Peston, anyone at the BBC. And then sort of outside of mainstream media now, the likes of Piers Morgan, I'm sure, will go on about Iran's so-called nuclear capabilities, as will Talk TV, James Wales, for example. But even James O'Brien knows that this is bollocks, and that Israel have been making such accusations against Iran for at least the last 40 odd years. I played you that clip yesterday, was it? Or on Friday? I forget when. We've got Jacqueline with us, and Super Tiny. How do you brew? Let's go back over to the cams. What's the latest? Do we have any activity? It's gone back to the one with the sort of 8 cams on it now. Do look quiet at the moment. Turned off the live stream chat there just to, not on this stream, on the stream within the stream, just to try and save a bit of CPU. It's always just trolls though on these kind of things. That is all they'll generally post, is a couple of words and American flags, Israeli flags or Iranian flags. That's about it, because there's quite a lot of people watching this at the moment. All quiet at the moment.
So, Richard, do you believe Iran would...
So I'll just get through some more clips. Just checking what we've got here. Right, we'll go over to G7 now, just talk a little bit about the G7, which is beginning today. Don't you all feel reassured, everybody, that the 7 richest capitalist nations are getting together, mostly capitalist, are getting together, and they're really going to sort things out this time. You know, they have to have, you know, they have these meetings every year. So what's on the agenda? Well, hopefully it's peace. But something tells me, unfortunately, a lot of the talk's going to surround who's selling what weaponry to who, and when, to be used in what areas. So I'll start with the clip that I used in the intro. So, you know, Trump gets his turn to speak, because obviously the United States are in the G7, so unfortunately his attendance is mandatory. And he just comes straight out with it. First of all, I want to say what a bunch of assholes you guys are for not inviting my best friend Vladimir Putin to this summit and changing it from the G8 to the G7. 1 minute. I'll get the original. Thought I had that already. Oh well. Just 1 sec. It's just unbelievable though, isn't he? Although, I say unbelievable, it's very believable at this point. Just go and grab this clip. There we go.
Together very well.
An interesting thing to observe, as well as it happens a lot when he's speaking in a room full of other international delegates. The looks on their faces, the sort of, I can't believe what he's saying, mixed with what the fuck is he going to say next expression on the faces. The guy on the right, who's got terrible posturing, looks like some sort of marionette. Looks particularly displeased. So let's... and they're all, you know, stood there, arms with the with the one palm over the other, uniform, in a line, trying to look very... And when Trump is trying to appear dignified, that is when he's potentially at his worst. His embarrassing worst.
I look forward to that. The G7 used to be the G8. Barack Obama and a person named Trudeau didn't want to have Russia in. And I would say that that was a mistake, because I think you wouldn't have a war right now if you had Russia in. And you wouldn't have a war right now if Trump were president 4 years ago. But it didn't work out that way. But it used to be the G8, and now it's, I guess, what's that, 8 years ago, it switched over. They threw Russia out, which I claimed was a very big mistake. Even though I wasn't in politics then, I was very loud about it. It was a mistake in that you spend so much time talking.
He wasn't into politics then.
About Russia, and he's no longer at the table, so it makes life more complicated. But you wouldn't have had the war. Other than that, I think we're going to accomplish a lot.
Well, Donald. Let's see what he has accomplished, even by his own merits, from his own promises. He promised to end the war between Ukraine and Russia within a week of him coming into the Oval Office. That obviously hasn't happened. We're way past 100 days now of his presidency. He said the same about Gaza. He said that there'd be a ceasefire straight away. Look at how that ceasefire went. Broken immediately by Israel. And now he claims that Russia would have never invaded Ukraine in the first place if he'd have been re-elected instead of Joe Biden. He doesn't live on this planet, does he? He doesn't live on this planet. So we'll see what develops there. I doubt that'll be the last faux pas from Trump while he's over there. My goodness. I hope some of them are going to point out how well his ear has healed as well. Just checking out the chat. Let's see what we're saying here, people. He needs to ruffle his hair. Was Rachel Riley coming into all this? Yeah, she's terrible. Terrible. Can't watch 8 out of 10 Cats Does Countdown because of her. Your ear. Live cams, let's see what's happening. Just get the live picture on. I was just about to say one of the cameras gone off. I don't know if that means it's been blown up or not, but then it promptly came back on. So this is exactly live. That is, I don't know if you can see the clock. It's 1 o'clock local time, 1 a.m. Just move it up a little. You can see that. Oh, there's a. I hadn't noticed that before. Keeps count of which camera had the most recent missile launch. But nothing at the moment. Obviously some go quicker than others, but the most effective ones, where Iran's concerned, have definitely been these new modern hypersonic missiles. They seem to be the Achilles heel of the Iron Dome at the moment. A lot of the standard rockets, missiles and drones are getting shot out of the sky, but from what I know about the attacks on the military bases and whatnot over the past few days, yeah, there doesn't seem to be much that the Dome can do about that. And of course the Iron Dome, I think, really just added to the sense of hubris that Israel already has, this sense of exceptionalism and immunity from international law. They thought that if nobody can attack them from the air, which is the way that modern warfare generally happens where large-scale operations are concerned, of course, then they felt they could act with impunity if they felt that there wasn't a force on the earth that could literally, physically, militarily penetrate the Iron Dome or their defences. I don't know if you've ever seen, you might have had a video pop up on your YouTube suggestions or whatever. Lists, these sort of list videos or articles, whatever, and it'll be the top, let's say, 5 uninvadable countries. You might have probably seen Israel mentioned on those, but they're probably going to have to update the records now, because the Iron Dome was probably a large part of that consideration. For the record, I think I remember, obviously, others included Russia for its sheer size. Obviously, historically, many have tried and failed, including Napoleon, and again an Austrian-born German Chancellor from the 1930s to roughly June 1945. Tried and failed. So, to quote the Predator, if it bleeds, we can kill it. I don't encourage violence, but obviously that is a big factor now. The hypersonic missile.
Together very well. I look forward to that. The G7 used to be the G8.
More things.
Barack Obama and a person named Trudeau didn't want to have Russia in.
Sorry. I'll just try and delete it because I'm done with it, but it just wouldn't stop playing. Right, people, it still looks quiet on the cameras, so let's just get a bit of an update from Gaza now, and support for Gaza, as of course I do. Let's keep you as abreast with latest demonstrations, protests and whatnot. Being fellow environmental and political activist myself. So of course, famously, just last week, the Madeleine Freedom Flotilla was intercepted, but there have been other efforts, international efforts, in fact, to break the blockade, break the siege in Gaza. So check out this clip from someone whose face you might not know, but you'll certainly know the surname. This is Nkosi Mandela, who's the grandson of the late, great Nelson Mandela, who broke another apartheid. So let's see a bit of history repeating there, hopefully.
My name is Nkosi Zwelivelile Mandela from South Africa. I am here to join the global march to Gaza to ensure that we are able to break the blockade and the siege on Gaza. We have called on the global community to join us in Cairo as we embark on our march to the Rafah crossing on the 15th. And we are still today here in this toll gate calling not only on Egyptians, but the entire Maghreb region, the entire African continent, the entire Arab League of Nations, the entire Islamic organizations of cooperation, Europe, particularly the European Palestinian Network, and all those that are in solidarity with Palestine in Europe, in Asia, in Latin America, and of course in the United States of America. We have seen over 80 countries come together here, pledging their support to the Palestinian cause. And we plead with the Egyptian government that we are here to support what they have been calling for in the international media, that being an immediate ceasefire and allowing humanitarian aid to flow freely into Gaza. And that is our sole mission of being here.
Sounds like a pretty good mission to me. And they set off yesterday, I believe. I'll try to keep you up to speed with the progress there. So that's Nkosi Mandela, grandson of the late great Nelson Mandela. Legend. Of course, the Tories, some of whom have gone on to become Prime Minister of the UK, but in their youth joined organisations calling for Nelson Mandela to be imprisoned and worse. There were Etonian societies. That championed apartheid in South Africa. This would have been during the late 1970s, early 1980s. David Cameron, for example. Margaret Thatcher. Who, according to the poll I showed on yesterday's stream, after 300 days in office, was significantly higher rated than the current Prime Minister Keir Starmer. You've got to be pretty bad to be worse than Thatcher or Cameron, who was actually on an even keel with Maggie the Milk Snatcher, wasn't he? -6. Starmer on a whopping -33 approval rating. So that definitely looks, hopefully, like a very significant aid group, aid convoy that's trying to get into Gaza via Egypt, as we heard in that clip. I mentioned the Freedom Flotilla earlier. Last we heard from Greta was at the airport when she was en route in France, but she's back now, and she actually attended a massive demo in Stockholm in Sweden over the weekend, where she gave a great speech. Let's check out some of that as well as the march. Sing along if you know the words, people. Well done, Stockholm, well done indeed. I'll just play that again, but with the sound off. Because unlike mainstream media, no, we will continue to be a voice for Palestine, to speak out for the suffrage of those in Gaza and the West Bank. Here on My Left Eye. Whilst the situation between Israel and Iran continues, unfortunately shelling in Gaza is also continuing. Dozens of people reported killed over the last few days alone. Oh, I quickly wanted to say, I'll say this before I forget. One thing that really got my piss boiling earlier on today was a statement that Netanyahu made, and it regards Israel's intentions to killing political and military leaders, Iranian political and military leaders. Paraphrasing, paraphrasing, of course, slightly, but the point remains that he says that doesn't really come into anything. They're still intending to kill political and military leaders because Netanyahu doesn't think that it'll escalate the situation. It won't have anything to do with whether things escalate or not. You know, that's a whole new level of crazy. That's a whole new level of crazy. You think that in any country in the world, that if the head of state, whomever it may be, gets assassinated by a foreign state, that they're just going to shrug it off and that they're not going to seek retaliation or revenge. If you want the definition of a madman, just replace whatever words are in the dictionary and stick a picture of Benjamin Netanyahu there, right next to Donald Trump. Crazy. Yeah, so back to Gaza. The blockade goes on. Unfortunately, I'll wish everybody that we saw departing on that convoy the very best of luck, but at the moment there's no fresh water in Gaza. People are fighting for scraps. This isn't about, oh, they're reduced to having low calorie small meals and whatnot, skipping the odd meal here and there. We're talking not eating for days on end. And the medical crisis that comes along with it as well, which is just the very, very lowest point of humanity. It really is. The history books will say that, I've no doubt. If you happen to be a historian who's come across this stream for whatever reason in the future, I want to let you know that we're fighting against it, and we can't believe that this is happening either. And we acknowledge that it is the low point of humanity in this time, in the 2020s. Let's see what we're saying in the chat, people. Sorry, I've not read any chats. Messages out. I hope it's all civil in there. If you're having any disagreements, please do keep it very civil in the chats. Stu, you just pointed out at the end of the chat there, yeah, as well about the overall sort of, what would you call it, philosophy. The philosophy of Zionism is pure hatred. There's no separating the two. Very hateful indeed. I'm always bringing up that sense of exceptionalism as well, which I think is always worth remembering. But I've seen some clips today of Zionists experiencing some different emotions, perhaps getting a taste of what Gazans suffer daily. Only Gazans don't have expensive cars to hide behind, or houses to hide within. I've seen some TikToks, Instagram videos, other uploads of people filming themselves in Tel Aviv whilst it's being shelled, and it's very difficult to garner any sympathy for anybody who does have that Zionist mindset. They absolutely cannot say that they've not got it coming. They can't act surprised, even though they do. They act very poorly. You know, why is this happening to us? We haven't done anything to them. They're the bad people. They've got nuclear weapons. It's very disturbing indoctrination, in fact, because a lot of them don't even know that they're lying. It's just drilled into them from a very young age, if they were born in Israel especially. even other non-Israelis, very well-known Jewish personalities, have come out and exposed this. I think most recently Seth Rogen, the actor, is one that I heard about. If you know Seth Rogen, so he's essentially said that there's no mention in the sort of indoctrination, whatever, of Zionism, that the land is stolen, that the land is anything but theirs. We all know that there's this myth, this 3,000-year-old, the land was promised to us. We'll wave a Bronze Age book at it and hope that that'll cut the mustard, but no. Now we can draw examples from the past. We've done that a few times tonight. Comparisons about chemical weapons claims pre-Iraq war to the claims currently being made about Iran. Pre-Iran-Israel war, question mark. And another one is, what do you do about that? Well, literally. Let's imagine we could literally end the occupation of Palestine tomorrow. Let's imagine that we could do that. We could get Netanyahu, Ben Gvir, everybody arrested and in The Hague straight away, whatnot, and they will answer justly for their crimes. But then you still have these millions of people, the population, very large elements of which will still believe what they've been indoctrinated to believe. And you can compare that to the problems of other fanatical regimes post-downfall. There's no very easy answer. It's a sociological poser, but I've always been a firm believer, but the best thing is education. You have to re-educate the people, and it might be a bit of a shock to them, but whatever nation you're from, you've got to acknowledge the truth. I acknowledge the crimes and awful, despicable things that the British Empire have done throughout history, things that have even happened in recent history, even during my lifetime. And I'll call them out just the same. So Israelis need re-educating, and obviously if there is, an ounce of good in the soul, then they'll have the same feeling about their country and the appalling acts committed in my name that Israelis have. There you go. It's a brief essay. Have you ever actually sat down and spoke to a Zionist? Like proper face to face? I have. I could pick a few examples. I like to think I'm a good sort of reader of people when I'm in the presence, decent emotional intelligence or whatever, and you can see it in the faces, in their eyes. They are acting as though they are telling the truth. That is, that they actually believe it. Especially if you talk to Zionists who were born in Israel. I've spoken to both. I've spoken at the unfortunate experience of knowing what turned out to be a Zionist who's currently living in the UK, has never even been to Israel. Yeah, and there's a difference. The one who I've spoken to, the example that I was using there, this was a young guy from Tel Aviv. He's actually a musician, and I got talking to him through a mutual friend at this event. So he essentially, you know, when you first meet someone and you ask where they're from, and you know, if you've been there, then you can whatever talk about mutual geographical locations, whatnot. This guy was like, he was from the tourist board of Tel Aviv. I already knew that he was from Israel before actually meeting him in person, but yeah, so I said, where are you from? He said Tel Aviv, and then it was like his sort of eyes closed and his like head tilted back as though he was having some sort of you know some sort of experience, and then proceeded to reel off about why Tel Aviv is the most beautiful, greatest city in the world, yada yada yada. And I mean, like, for almost 2 minutes, which when you're just in the opening throes of a conversation is quite a long time to well, I believe we were sitting at the time, sit there and awkwardly just sort of wonder what the fuck's going on. Yeah, there's you know, main points, just rounding off. There's something not right about them. There really is something not right about them. And however long it takes, that whole mindset has got to go. It's got to be, you know, it's got to be eradicated, obviously peacefully. I do not condone the G word. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about education and reparation. Let's go to the cams. I thought there was something zipping by that one on the bottom, but it was just either a camera fault or you're going to get... Sorry, this is obviously serious, but I just sort of imagined if a moth was not too far from the camera, it'd look like, my god, the city's being attacked by a giant moth. Mothra from Godzilla lore, for example. Get them out of that building. Oh no, it's just a spider on the lens. Alright people, I'm just going to address the chat again. I don't like to see anybody falling out. If you do disagree on any points, just obviously please act cordially. Try not to get into out and out arguments if you can. Don't have any mods at the moment, people, so I'm responsible for moderating my own chats. I've only got one left eye, so I want to reiterate as well, I've noticed a couple of questions now and then in the chat. I do have a pair of functioning eyes. I don't have one eye missing or anything like that. That's nothing to do with the name of the channel. I can't remember what it was. I think somebody genuinely thought I only had one left eye because I just keep saying my left eye. Anyway, back to the chat. Yeah, please keep it polite, keep it cordial. Just need to skip to live. Actually, it's lagged a bit behind. You can see there, that's from a few minutes ago. So that's live again now, yeah, 31 minutes past 1. I'll just leave this hanging up here for now while we chat. So many screens, only 2 eyes, but my left eye sees all. Sneaky Fish, have you been having a sneaky look at my notes for perhaps upcoming comedy bits on the channel? No, I think if there was an alter ego, it would have a slightly different name, but I'm not going to reveal any ideas that are whirling around just yet. I do need to do a new Pat McFadden experience video soon though. I've got a couple of ideas for that. I'll try and get them down. Obviously I still want to bring you the streams and do other videos as well. Yeah, Stu, it's my eye on the left of politics. I think the name sort of scans well as well. There's a bit of a rhyming thing in there. My left eye. I had a few ideas knocking around, but that's the one that came out. Apparently, you can't have Starmer Sucks Big Old Donkey Dick as a YouTube channel name, but there you go. My left eye it was. Only joking. Please don't demonetize me for that. Actually, my last 2 streams have been demonetized. One of them is definitely confirmed, the other one's still under review, but is currently limited or no ads, whatever, at the beginning. I'm being rendered. I'm being censored. No, most of the time I just have to request a review and it comes back. I'm pretty sure I know why the one that's been permanently limited was. I said words that weren't allowed. Specific 4-letter word. Ah, okay. I thought there was something wrong with the camera on the top right, as you can see it. I'll have to just bring the full thing over this way a bit. Now, do you see that? Oh, come so you can see the cursor. This thing here. I thought it was some sort of fault, or it's some sort of sound bar. It's a fountain. It's actually a fountain. I'm not sure if you could see that. I mean, most of these, at least half of these cams, it's a bit tricky because there's a glaring light shining towards the camera, so it's hard to distinguish what would be just some sort of glare or what is actually a rocket or a missile. That's the moon. I would surmise that's not a slow-moving, slow-incoming anything. Obviously, with the hypersonics, the clues in the name, it's difficult to keep your eye out for them because they move faster than the speed of sound, obviously. Way, way faster. Some of them several thousand kilometres per hour. Wow. Still nothing at the moment. I'll have a look at the news feed on another screen. Just leave these cameras up for now. With obviously the set times for Brews at 10, it's pretty rare that we find ourselves in a live situation. Most of the day's events have been and gone, so it's more or less a sort of look back, but it's always good to have stuff potentially going on whilst we're on the stream. So there has been some news. I'll bring this up actually. Apparently missiles have been identified, detected, launched from Iran according to the IDF. That was a report. These are all reports coming in from the last hour. They sent everybody down to the shelters. But what's this? There's a bit of a development from the G7 as well. Regarding Iran, and you've got Trump and Starmer stood next to each other in this picture. Just one sec. Ugh. So they're trying to encourage Iran to sign some sort of nuclear deal. Is it for them to promise not to use the weapons that they don't have? Because then that'll legitimise your, excuse me, false claims that they actually do. Let's see what's going on. Pete Hegseth, asshole, says he's directed the deployment of additional capabilities to the Central Command Area of Responsibility, the part of the US military whose area of responsibility includes the Middle East. Protecting United States forces, he says, is our top priority, and these developments are intended to enhance our defensive posture in the region. Defensive posture, really. Defensive. Defensive. Well, I personally believe that outside of for assistance with humanitarian aid or disaster relief, for example, every single country's armies in the world should stay within its own fucking borders, and then we wouldn't have any of this crap, would we? So it looks as though Trump and the United States are diving into this head first. Now there's going to be troops on the ground assisting Israel against Iran. This will not end well, people. Because the next thing you know, someone like China or Russia might feel like they've got to make a move. So there haven't been any pictures coming from tonight's detected attack yet. Not sure if it was a false alarm, but they said that they issued warnings. Again, striking military and associated infrastructure, they say. Oh, can you believe that? Netanyahu sought to draw a distinction between Israeli strikes and those by Iran, saying that Israel had targeted only nuclear and missile threats and accusing Iran of targeting civilians. He accused someone of targeting civilians. Well, why don't you ask any doctor who's worked in a Gaza hospital whether or not Israel are targeting civilians? They will tell you absolutely 100% yes, and deliberately targeting children. Because the rate of people going into the hospital either dead or alive with gunshot wounds to the chest and head does not go up exponentially unless they're being targeted. It's the canary in the coal mine, as it were. There you see, 224 people have been killed since Israel began its strikes on Friday. Compared to 24 people being killed by Iranian strikes. That's always been the case, though. Ever since Israel began occupying Gaza, although I believe this stat specifically refers to the last 20 months, but there's obviously been media bias since the beginning. Bias in favour of Israel, that is. But over the last 20 months, reports of Israeli deaths have been mentioned 33 times more than Palestinian deaths by the mainstream media. However, at the same time, and I'm sure this probably isn't a coincidence, 33 times more Palestinians have been killed than Israelis. So that's as completely backward as you can get it. So I'll just say that again. The media has reported Israeli deaths 33 times more than Palestinian deaths, but the number of deaths is 33 times more Palestinians than Israelis. Sickening. Israel says it's destroyed 2 Iranian fighters. That's from a couple of hours ago now. So I'll just go back up to the latest. They've got the clip of the SNN reporter. So no reports of casualties at this stage, according to Magen David Adom, who's Israel's national emergency service. So they're all coming out of the bomb shelters now. It looks like that'll be pretty quiet. Yeah, probably not too much happening on the live comms, so I shall move on. And in moving on, I just want to give another big shout out to the members on the channel. Thanks for tonight's gifted memberships, really do appreciate those people. And don't forget to check if your membership's up for renewal. Please do choose to renew. It's just 99 pence. That's a fraction of the price of a tasty hot beverage, don't you know? You can't even get a chocolate bar in a service station garage for that, probably. Even probably a Freddo. Probably can't even get a Freddo for 99p. No, seriously, do massively appreciate your ongoing support. It's great to see the community growing as well. Thank you very much, everybody. So back up to 90 now on the membership goal. And this being a Monday, of course, I'll just bring the chat back up. Always like to go out on something a bit more light-hearted, but we've got a new volume of the Brews at 10. The album, this is the debut play. When I find it, okay. I do have it here. Yeah. Thanks for your contributions. So please do add to the chat any tea-based songs or artists for future volumes. Oh, sorry, that was a bit loud. Apologies to anybody wearing headphones who now can't hear me apologising because you're probably deaf. This is it, volume 11.
Do you like a hot tasty beverage with your music? Then My Left Eye has got a treat for your ears. The Brews at 10, the album, all your favourite beverage-based hits from the 1960s to now, all in one place.
Volume 11 is now available, featuring Tequila Sunrise, The Teagles, T and Mrs. Jones, Billy Paul, especially for Brew, Kylie and Jason, Brew Make Me Feel Like Dancing, Leo Sayer, Brew, Radiohead, plus many more. Order now.
Yeah, thanks for your contributions, guys. Just wanted to go back over the... What is it? So this week we had Tequila Sunrise by the Teagles, Tea and Mrs. Jones by Billy Paul, Especially for Brew by Kylie Minogue and Jason Donovan, Brew Make Me Feel Like Dancing by Leo Sayer, and Brew by Radiohead. That was instead of You by Radiohead. Pretty, can't believe nobody thought of that one before. It's probably the easiest one. Okay, unless there's a song out there that's just literally called Tea. Probably is. Right, but thanks for all your contributions, people. Be another edition next week. Okay, people, I'll be bringing the stream to a close shortly, but stay put. Just having a look if there's anywhere we can raid into. Stick around. No, nobody live at the moment. Any suggestions? Open to taking a few last moment suggestions in the chat. I've got a few that are upcoming, but I always like to go in live. Others oh no, that's for a premiere of a video for Navarra, not an actual live stream. Politics Clive, thanks for the suggestion. Hey, I hear they're pretty good over at My Left Eye. Let's check them out. I hear they've got a great audience as well. As long as they're all being cordial in the chat, I will remind you once again. Don't make me tap the sign again. Oh, there's going to be pure Bolshevism up in here. Nice one, Clive. Sons of Liberty. Thanks for that one, Flo. Let's have a look. Rings a bell, actually. It's thinking about it. Then it's going to be like, do you mean this? No, that's a blank. Unfortunately, they're not streaming at the moment. Gulag, 17 years. Easy, sneaky fish, easy. Is that a suggestion there, Jacqueline? Abby Do Black Wife. Is that the name of the channel? It's an interesting one. And does it have to be caps? saying no matching results. I was only joking about the Bolshevism, Andy, don't worry. Sorry, Jacqueline, that suggestion's not coming up, I'm afraid. Any final takers? Otherwise, we're going to be finishing without a raid. I think No Justice is still on holiday. Is that serious, Clive? What? Timmy Mallet is streaming Fortnite, doing the whole boink thing. What's the... okay. What? Is that serious? I'm gonna... let me know if it's a joke before I start typing it in. It'll definitely be strange. No. Ah. Okay. I wish that would have been real just out of curiosity now. Yeah, from politics and society to Fortnite and what the hell's going on. Okay then people, it looks like we'll be foregoing the raid on this live stream. It's a rare blank that we've drawn. Okay, so that leads me to bid you a very good evening. Thanks for joining me on the stream. Hope you've enjoyed it. It's been great to see you as always. I'll be back with you throughout the week for more Brews at 10, so keep an eye out, hit the notification button to keep up to speed. Give us a follow on social media at MyLeftEye UK. Make sure you've hit the thumbs up button on this stream and share a shitload of the channel's content all around. Stop people in the streets and ask them, have you heard of My Left Eye? Well, you'll dig it, so check out the URL, motherfucker. Okay, no, don't actually do that, but take care everybody. My Left Eye, be seeing you soon. Power to the people. Free Palestine.